Chapter 97. The cause of the flood. The Lord. They even accuse God and say, "How could God let a flood come over the earth to drown all life? And how could he destroy the Sodomites and the Gomorrites?" Oh, nothing easier than that. For why let bustling and prim lumps of flesh crawl around the earth any longer, whose souls have strayed so far from the old order of God that even the last trace of self-awareness in them is gone out of pure concern for the flesh? Can there be an even thicker incarnation of the human soul than that in which the soul has not only come into being from the divine spirit in its every representation, but which also in the end loses itself so much that it begins to deny its own being quite seriously and can no longer be convinced that it exists? Yes, when that situation occurs with the people of the world, then man has completely stopped being human. He is then only an instinctively reasoning animal, and above all incapable of any further education of the soul and the spirit. Thus such a body must be killed and decay along with the too intensively incarnated soul, so that maybe, after many millennia, a soul which has become free of all incarnation can enter the path to its self-education and independence, either on this earth or on another. That there are here, however, often people who no longer know anything about their own soul, for pure concern about the world and their flesh, you can recognize partly in yourself, partly in the Sadducees, and to a great part in all people. For no one knows any longer who and what the soul is. One talks about it and says, "with heart and soul," and "he is my soulmate." But if you ask someone, "Friend, who and what is the soul?" the person questioned stands there like an ox on a mountainside, not knowing what to say. But once a soul does not recognize itself any longer, and in the end even quite forgets what and how it is, then everything ends. And there is nothing left for God to do except the old maneuver of destroying the human body anew on the face of the earth, sometimes to a large degree, sometimes to a lesser degree, depending on the situation of the people, whether they still know something about their soul and spirit, or nothing at all. Such pure worldly and fleshly people may look very beautiful and sumptuous, particularly the female sex. The easily understandable reason lies in the constant greater conjunction of the soul with the body. But such people also become weak through this, and are very susceptible to all serious physical effects. Their bodies become sick easily, and the slightest wind of a plague brings inevitable death. While people who have a free soul and a free spirit in it can let all the poisons of the earth come over them, and will not harm them in the least. For a free soul and the freest spirit in it have power and means in abundance to face every enemy in the most effective way. While a soul gagged everywhere by its cursed flesh resembles a small tied-up giant, who in the end cannot even defend himself against a fly, and has to allow an insensible dwarf with a knife to slowly but painfully remove his head from his body.